My daughter got married and left me out of her wedding. My husband doesn't like you, he says you're pathetic. So I cancelled her honeymoon, sold her house, and cut off all contact with her. He thinks you're pathetic. Those words, from my own daughter, still echo. It was the moment my world shattered, and I knew nothing would ever be the same. The cold, sterile phone clutched in my hand felt impossibly heavy. Outside, the world was moving on, but inside me, a silent, devastating explosion had just ripped through everything I thought I knew. I need to tell you why that hit so hard. Why it cut right to the bone. My name is Robert, I'm 52, and 15 years ago, my wife, Claire, died in a car accident. Just like that, it was just me and our 11-year-old daughter, Olivia. From that day forward, she was my entire universe. I worked 2 jobs, sacrificed every ounce of my social life, my dating life, everything, to give Olivia the childhood she deserved. Piano lessons? Done. That expensive private college for art history? I took out loans, worked overtime, never complained once. Her happiness was all that mattered. I was at every recital, every parent-teacher conference, celebrated every triumph, and helped pick up the pieces after every heartbreak. 3 years ago, when she graduated, I bought her a house. A real house. Cost me $230,000, practically my life savings. I just wanted her to have security, a solid start. So, you can imagine how I felt last Tuesday. I was scrolling through social media on my coffee break, just like any other day, when I saw it. A photo of Olivia in a wedding dress, kissing some guy I'd only met twice. The caption? Best day of my life, married to my soulmate. My hand started shaking so bad I almost dropped my phone. My daughter got married. And I found out on Facebook. Like a stranger. I called her. 5 times. She finally picked up, her voice cold, irritated. What do you want, Dad? She said. I asked her what the hell was going on. Why wasn't I invited? Why didn't she even tell me she was engaged? A long, awful pause. Then she sighed. Kevin didn't want you there. He thinks you're pathetic. Always trying to control my life. And honestly, I agree with him. The words hit me. Hard. I couldn't breathe. Pathetic? Everything I've ever done has been for you, Olivia. My voice cracked, barely a whisper. But she just came back with that dismissive tone she'd developed since meeting Kevin. I knew you'd make this about you. I'm 26. I don't need your approval anymore. I told her I was coming over, face to face. I drove straight to that house, the one I bought her, the one still technically in my name because we never got around to transferring the deed. Kevin opened the door, that smirk I always hated plastered on his face. Tall guy, late 20s, always bragging about his leased luxury car. Oh, it's you, he said, not even trying to be polite. When I said I needed to talk to Olivia, he actually put his hand on my chest to block me. She doesn't want to talk to you. Man, you need to learn some boundaries. Then Olivia appeared behind him. Annoyance mixed with what might have been a flicker of guilt. Dad, why are you here? I told you on the phone. She crossed her arms. I begged to talk to her alone. No. Whatever you have to say, you can say it in front of Kevin. He's my husband now. The way she said husband felt like a deliberate punch. I tried to explain, tried to understand. We used to be so close. I'd always supported her. What did I do wrong? Kevin actually laughed. You really don't get it, do you, old man? You're suffocating. Always acting like she owes you something just because you're her dad. I never said she owed me anything. I just want to be part of her life. I protested, but he just got louder, more aggressive. Well, she doesn't want you in her life anymore. So, why don't you take the hint and leave? Olivia just stood there, arms crossed. She didn't defend me. Didn't tell him to back off. Just watched, like I was some stranger making a scene. Olivia, please. Talk to me. Don't let him speak for you, I pleaded. Kevin stepped fully in front of her. She already told you how she feels. Now get the hell out of here before I make you leave. You're going to make me leave the house that I bought for my daughter? My anger finally started to boil. Kevin shot back, "Oh, here we go with the I bought you everything speech. You're such a typical narcissistic parent." That's when Olivia spoke up and completely broke me. "I knew you'd try to talk me out of marrying Kevin. You never liked him. You always thought you knew what was best for me, and I'm sick of it. I don't need your approval anymore." Tears were welling up in my eyes. "I just wanted to be there for one of the most important days of your life," I said. She responded coldly, "Well, you weren't invited, and the wedding was perfect without you. So maybe that tells you something." Kevin put his arm around her, possessively. "You hurt her, old man. Your time is done. I'm her family now. She doesn't need a pathetic, controlling father anymore." Pathetic. That word again. And this time, Olivia didn't contradict him. Didn't defend me. She just stood there, under his arm, looking at me like I was the villain. "Olivia, please," I whispered one last time. "Just go, Dad." And then Kevin literally pushed me. Shoved me backward off the porch. I stumbled, caught myself. For a split second, I considered fighting back. But then I saw Olivia's face. She wasn't even upset that her husband had just put his hands on her father. That's when I knew it was truly over. I walked back to my car, sat there for 5 minutes, shaking and crying, trying to make sense of it all. As I drove home, something inside me changed. The raw hurt began to crystallize into something colder, harder. 15 years. 15 years I sacrificed everything for Olivia. And this was how she repaid me? Choosing some manipulative jerk who convinced her I was the enemy? That night, in my home office, with a bottle of whiskey, I started making a list. Every financial commitment, every legal document still in my name. The house was mine. Then there was that honeymoon to a luxury resort in Maui, a €15,000 surprise gift I'd booked and paid for. The joint bank account, €500 monthly for years, now at €20,000. All the monthly bills I still paid, her phone, car insurance, subscriptions. As I looked at that list, it became painfully clear. If I was pathetic for caring, controlling for trying to be part of her life, then I needed to step back. Completely. Let Olivia and Kevin figure it out without my interference. The whiskey burned, but a cold clarity settled over me. The kind that only comes when you're so utterly broken, something fundamental snaps. Tomorrow, I decided, things were going to change. We'd see just how pathetic Olivia thought I was when reality came crashing down. I didn't sleep. Not a minute. Just sat there, staring at that list, drinking, feeling something cold and hard where my heart used to be. By sunrise, I knew exactly what I was going to do. And for the first time since seeing that wedding photo, I felt calm. Eerily calm. Like I'd finally accepted an unavoidable truth. My daughter didn't want me in her life. She'd made that crystal clear. So, I would give her exactly what she wanted, a life free from her pathetic, controlling father. First thing that morning, I called the luxury resort in Maui. That €15,000 surprise honeymoon. "Hi, I need to cancel a reservation under the name Olivia Miller," I said. The receptionist asked if I wanted to reschedule. No. Complete cancellation. Refund everything. They said I'd only get 60% back due to policy. I didn't care. I just wanted it gone. Every last connection to their perfect wedding severed. Next, the joint bank account. €500 a month, like clockwork, for years. I transferred every cent back to my personal account. All €20,000. Watching the balance hit zero gave me a satisfaction I hadn't known I was capable of. Then, every monthly bill for Olivia. Her phone plan, car insurance, streaming, gym membership. All of it. I called each company, one by one, to cancel or remove my payment info. "But sir, this will result in service interruption," one customer service rep warned. "That's exactly what I want." "Thank you," I said, and hung up. The hardest part, the nuclear option, was the house. That beautiful 3-bedroom house I'd bought her for graduation. Still legally in my name. I called Angela, my real estate agent, who helped me buy it 3 years ago. I told her I wanted to put it on the market. Immediately. "Robert, are you sure?" she asked, concerned. "I thought this was your daughter's house." I explained everything. The wedding. The pathetic comment. Kevin physically pushing me. Angela was quiet for a moment. "Listen, I'll have the paperwork ready tomorrow. We can probably get $280,000 for it in this market. A profit." Not that money mattered anymore. It was the principle. I spent the rest of that day in a strange, focused productivity. Organizing documents, signing forms, making calls, dismantling every piece of financial support I'd built for Olivia over the years. My phone rang. Olivia's name flashed. I let it go to voicemail. Didn't even listen to the messages. That evening, exactly 1 week after Olivia's wedding, after everything was cancelled and the house listing was live, I sent her a single text. "You said I was pathetic and not needed in your life. I've accepted that. You and Kevin are on your own now. Don't contact me again." Then I did something I never thought I'd have the strength for. I blocked her number. Blocked her on every social media platform. Deleted every photo of her from my phone. I sat in the silence of my empty house, feeling simultaneously devastated and liberated. Part of me expected to break down, to cry, to regret it all. But instead, I just felt numb. Like I'd amputated a diseased limb to save the rest of my body. My daughter wanted to be free of me. Now she was. And soon she'd learn what that freedom actually cost. For 3 months, I heard nothing. And I honestly didn't expect to. I moved on. Started therapy, reconnected with old friends I'd neglected. Even went on a few dates. For the first time in 15 years, I was living for myself. Not for someone who clearly didn't appreciate it. The house sold in 6 weeks for $275,000. I used the profit to finally book that trip to Japan I'd dreamed about for years, always postponed because Olivia needed something. My therapist said I was processing grief. That cutting off your child is like a death. She was right. I was grieving the daughter I thought I had, mourning the relationship I thought we'd built. But I was also healing, slowly but surely. Then, on a rainy Tuesday evening in late October, there was a knock on my door. When I opened it, there stood Olivia. I barely recognized her. She'd lost weight. Her eyes were red and puffy, like she'd been crying for days. Her hair was unwashed, pulled back in a messy ponytail. She wore sweatpants and an old jacket I remembered buying her years ago. "Papa? Please, can we talk?" she asked, using that childhood name she hadn't called me since she was little. My heart, that traitorous organ, immediately started breaking all over again. I stood there for a long moment, every fiber of my being wanting to pull her into a hug, to tell her everything was okay, to be the dad I'd always been. But I couldn't. Not after what she'd done. Not after how she'd made me feel. "What do you want, Olivia?" I asked, keeping my voice neutral. She started crying, actual sobs that shook her whole body. "Can I please come in? I need to tell you something," she begged. Against my better judgment, I stepped aside and let her in. She sat on my couch, the same couch where we'd watched movies when she was little, and she told me everything. How Kevin had been using her, systematically isolating her from everyone who cared. How he convinced her I was toxic and controlling, when he was the manipulator. "He only wanted me for money, Dad," she sobbed through tears. When he found out the house was sold, the bank account was empty, and there was no honeymoon, he changed completely. Apparently, Kevin had become verbally abusive, calling her stupid for letting me take everything, blaming her for their financial problems. 2 weeks ago, she discovered he was cheating on her with another woman, someone with a wealthy family. He'd already moved out and filed for divorce. I was so stupid. You were right about him. You were right about everything. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, she cried, reaching for my hand. But I pulled back. I looked at this broken young woman on my couch, my daughter, the girl I'd raised and loved and sacrificed everything for. And I felt a complicated mix of emotions, love, anger, pity, resentment, all swirling in my chest. "Olivia, I appreciate you coming here and apologizing. I really do," I said slowly, choosing my words carefully. "But you didn't just exclude me from your wedding. You called me pathetic. You stood there while your husband put his hands on me. You chose a man who disrespected me over your own father who gave you everything." She was sobbing harder now, saying she knew she'd messed up, begging for forgiveness, asking if we could start over. I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the rain. I said the hardest words I've ever had to say. "Olivia, I love you. I will always love you, because you're my daughter. But love isn't enough anymore. You broke something between us that can't be fixed with a simple apology." I turned to face her. "If you want to rebuild our relationship, it's going to take time. A lot of time. And it's going to require you to prove, through actions, not words, that you actually value me as your father. I'm not going to be your ATM or your safety net anymore. I'm not going to drop everything to fix your problems." She nodded, mascara running down her face. "Does this mean you're giving me another chance?" she asked. I sighed deeply. "It means I'm willing to try, but we're starting from zero. You want to see me? You call, and we schedule something. You want my help? You ask respectfully, and understand I might say no. And most importantly, you need to get yourself together. Get therapy. Figure out who you are without Kevin, or without me rescuing you." I walked her to the door. Before she left, she hugged me tight and whispered, "Thank you, Dad. I'll prove I can change. I promise." I just nodded, watching her walk to her car in the rain. After she left, I sat back down on that couch and let myself cry for the first time in months. Not tears of sadness, but of release. Because I'd finally set boundaries. Finally stood up for myself. Finally realized that being a good father doesn't mean being a doormat. The road ahead would be long and complicated, but at least now, it would be on my terms. What would you have done in my shoes?